Hey everyone, before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell so you never miss a story like this. And after this one, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever experienced betrayal that made you question everything? Let's talk about it. I still remember the day I got that text. My phone buzzed on the kitchen counter, and when I picked it up, it was her, my wife. Hey, love, I'm going to extend the girls' trip by a week. Hope that's okay. At first, I laughed. She'd been looking forward to this trip for months. I pictured her sipping margaritas on some sunny beach, laughing with her friends, and I told myself it was fine. Just a little extra time for her to unwind. But something about that message didn't sit right. I shrugged it off, trying to shake the tiny knot forming in my stomach. The first few days were normal enough. I called her a few times. Nothing unusual. Just the usual laughter and background chatter from her friends. But then, the calls became shorter. She seemed distracted, her voice distant, and sometimes she'd hang up mid-sentence with a sudden, "Oops, sorry, someone's calling me." I told myself I was imagining things. Maybe she was busy. Maybe it was just a trip. Then came the small, nagging signs. A photo she sent of her group dinner looked off, cropped strangely, faces blurred. Her social media stories appeared delayed, filtered, staged. I started checking my messages and calls more often, not out of paranoia, but from a gnawing feeling I couldn't explain. I remember the evening I found a first real clue. I was scrolling through a shared iCloud folder for some old vacation pictures when I saw a photo she hadn't meant to share. Not with the group, not at dinner, just her and a man I didn't recognize. Laughing too closely, leaning in. My heart sank, but I told myself, maybe it's nothing. Maybe he's just a friend. I tried to keep calm, rational. I didn't want to accuse her, without proof. But the more I thought, the more the memories of subtle changes came back. Texts disappearing from her phone, her reluctance to talk about plans, the way she'd sometimes look at me with that fleeting guilt that I'd always dismissed. I didn't reach out to confront her immediately. Instead, I watched quietly, letting the suspicion grow. Each new message, each vague explanation, each hidden glance became a puzzle I couldn't stop trying to solve. And then, a week later, the truth landed in my inbox like a punch to the gut. It was a message from a mutual friend, tagging her in a picture at some cafe. Her and the same man from the photo, cozy and smiling like nothing existed beyond that moment. My stomach twisted. My head spun. And yet, I didn't call. I didn't text. I didn't explode. I just sat there, letting the shock settle, feeling a strange mixture of anger, hurt, and heartbreak. When she finally returned home, she expected an apology, a smile, maybe relief that she could finally be back. I greeted her at the door with calm. No accusations, no yelling. Just quiet, steady eyes. "Hey," I said. "Welcome home. Did you have a good trip?" She blinked at me, confused. Yeah, it was great. Why do you sound so calm?" "I just wanted to hear about it," I said, keeping my voice even. She laughed nervously, obviously expecting me to blow up, and that's when I saw it, the first crack in her confident mask. I could see her guilt reflected in the way she avoided my eyes, how her hands fidgeted, how she shifted from foot to foot. Later, after dinner, I laid out what I knew. The photos, the texts, the timeline. I didn't shout. I didn't cry. I just let her see everything. And for the first time, I saw the real her, the one who didn't have an excuse ready, the one who had been caught in her own deceit. She tried to justify it, talking about stress, freedom, needing space, but her words fell hollow. I realized then that love can't survive on convenience and excuses. Betrayal isn't just about a moment. It's about the erosion of trust, the quiet fracture that starts with small lies and ends with the collapse of everything you thought was real. I left that night for the first time in years. Not out of anger, but out of a need to reclaim myself. It hurt more than I ever imagined. But in the silence, in the space away from her, I began to breathe again. I remembered who I was before the doubt, before the lies, before the betrayal. And in that calm, I found a quiet strength. I didn't need her confession to validate my feelings, nor her apologies to heal. I simply chose to step away from what had been poison and focus on a life I deserved, truthful, honest, and whole. Even now, months later, I catch myself replaying moments from that trip. The photos, the messages, the little signs I ignored. But instead of pain, I feel clarity. I know now that my calm response wasn't weakness. It was the strength to see the truth, the courage to step away, and the wisdom to rebuild a life that's mine alone. So if anything resonates with you from my story, or if you've ever faced a betrayal that shook your world, share it in the comments. I want to hear your experiences. And don't forget, subscribe to the channel for more stories that make you feel, think, and maybe even heal a little.